Hello and welcome to another edition of Goa 365's Face to Face. With me is Mr. Elvis Gomes. He's heading up in Goa today, but before that he was one of Goa's top bureaucrats. A very good, efficient officer. But he gave it up for the rough and tumble of politics. Elvis, welcome. Elvis,
Thank you.
before we get into AAP and the politics and the issues, I just want to bring it a little bit of perspective. I don't know, I'm sure you've been asked a lot of this many times earlier. Like, what is it being a bureaucrat with the full government behind you, the full system behind you, and now as a politician and a politician of a small budding party? What is the difference, the human touch? The human side of it, your human side. Could you give us some insight, please?
Yes. See, basically the difference is here is your freedom. You can speak your mind out. And there you are doing it for somebody else, for somebody else's mind. Your mind may work to some extent, but then there are restraints and constraints in the flow. But when you are in a political system, you have a particular ideology, you have your own ideas and how to push it. You have the full freedom, and that is what we are happy doing these days.
So now let us get into the issues. The first issue that I think that issue by itself it moves to the top. It's about the pandemic. It's about COVID-19, the rising cases, the way it's being handled or mishandled, the opening up of tourism. What could you give us? You are on the ground. Could you give us a status of, according to you, what it is as of today?
See, the Goa government has bungled. They did not anticipate. Something called anticipation is missing in this government. There are no clear heads who give directions. There is a complete mixture of many people coming into this picture. Although superficially it appears, and it was appearing initially when the CM was coming before the media on regular basis, somewhere down the line it was palpable that there are other currents within that system. When you fight something like a pandemic of this magnitude, all that is required is complete cohesion in a government.
Before you go further, can you elaborate on this cohesion with many voices cohesion? Could you give us some more? I'm sure you know what you're talking about.
I'll give you one example. Aam Aadmi Party has been demanding just one single joint press conference in the very beginning by the Chief Minister and the Health Minister. It never came. We could see the Health Minister addressing the Chief Minister through the social media. Now here it is very visible what I'm talking about. Something of the nature of COVID that the world is fighting, you have to be very, very careful in how you deliver, what you do, and how you anticipate what will happen next. We can talk like this because we have before us Aam Aadmi Party government in Delhi that is also handling this crisis on a much bigger scale. In a city which has a population which is more than 10-15 times the population of Goa. But there you see the kind of involvement of the government, how it functions, how it anticipates, how it prepares in advance. It is missing here. The Home Minister comes on record and says that the beds are full. Somebody else lower down the line denies it immediately. What is going on? You have no preparedness, something called preparedness. Now you are talking about a North Goa hospital. So what were you doing all along? That bravado of green zone, 0 cases has got punctured now. And the cases are galloping. I am not saying anything. I am only telling that there should be a sort of with the correct experts, you have to get a lot of people on board. You have to understand from other sides also. You are only talking from the government side and what your health authorities are telling you. This needs a larger understanding for which you require involvement of more people, more well-meaning people. Only then these kind of things can be handled better.
Elvis, now you're talking about you need involvement of more people, well-meaning people. Now there is an SEC. There are government servants there are certain private individuals, but is that working? You feel it is working, or it needs to be more grassroots level oriented?
You just check who is in this SEC. When this SEC sprouts, before that nobody knows what is SEC also. Nobody even understands what is disaster management. Suddenly something called a SEC comes out. What is SEC? SEC is a bunch of officers who are working directly under the command of this government. They have no independence in this. Believe me when I say this. And SEC works in a knee-jerk reaction. These things cannot be handled like that. It requires a very holistic approach. That is why I am saying there are a lot of people in Goa who need to be consulted, who still are ready to come on board and give a proper direction to what needs to be done even now before it goes out of control. It's already showing sign of going out of control. So therefore, the CM would do well to consult proper people, lot of people in the private sector, rather than relying on these SECs, which are nothing but offshoots of the government.
What I want to go into is a little deeper. Now, you have been a bureaucrat for many years. You probably today you would have been at IAS level in case if you had continued. But what I'm saying is that as a former bureaucrat and knowing the system, and now as a politician, what would you have done different as far as COVID is concerned? Because you have you can say you have the best of both worlds. And also you are a very experienced person. It's not that you've just got in, you've just been in there for a short while, for a very long time.
What I would have done is, first and foremost, I would have kept party politics out. There is nothing to gain for politically here, because the issue of public health, the issue of life is at stake. So moment you keep your party interests aside, many things would fall in place. What the government has done right from the beginning, if you recall, March 22nd, when the Janta curfew was announced, even on that day, they were gearing up to conduct ZP elections. When the world over was telling that this pandemic has set in, this is what I mean to say by giving this example, that you cannot put party interest above everything else. We have seen it in the case of Madai River. Party interest comes first. That is why all the issues suffer when it comes to people. What I would have done differently is kept the party issues aside, consulted whole lot of people away from the government also. I don't say altogether do away with government, but also consult a whole lot of people, get the best practices from across the states. People are handling this. People are handling this in Delhi. Kerala has handled it. What is wrong in learning from them? Where are your egos? Why should egos come in place? If you see right from the beginning and the body language of the people now in the forefront, it is completely different. Why? So much so that even coming before the media has stopped for some time. Why? So therefore, what is required is an approach where you, in all humility, yes, admit that there is a big problem and that there are more people who are required to come in, consult a whole lot of people. It is more to do with consultation, and that is what is happening in Delhi, because I am privy to what is happening there. That's why I am telling you. But even keeping Delhi aside for a moment, go to Kerala and see how they have flattened this curve.
Now, Elvis, let's move on from COVID. Now, there is another issue which I want to bring up. In fact, 2, 3, but another issue in this sequence. And this also relates to governance, which you were very much a part of, and it relates to politics, which you are a part of now. That is law and order. See, the BJP government, backed by its parent groups of the Sangh, have always been hitting out at the previous government that no, law and order is a problem. I remember the former chief minister, he's always had to say no, law and order, law and order, law and order. Today, see, I am not making a statement, but we can see assaults, gangs, extortions, kidnappings, shootouts in the middle of section 144, in the middle of curfew, shootouts. This is something very new for Goa. So what is it? Is the BJP losing its sheen? Is it losing its core values, or is it going the Congress way? What exactly? I am at a loss to ask you. So maybe you can give us some, starting from Goa, of course, from the shooting and whatever, the Gundagiri and the extortion which is going on here.
I'll tell you, these are all birds of the same feather. At least in Goa, let us restrict ourselves to Goa. These are birds of the same feather. The BJP was shining as an opposition. Today, that opposition is not there. So take the case of late Mr. Manohar Parrikar. he used to use that chair as leader of opposition to the hilt. He used to strike at issues, make believe that these are issues that the government has been floundering upon, the government of that day. Today, what is happening, the issues are the same. Law and order crisis exists, but there is no opposition to point it out. Why? Because the moment BJP came to power, the BJP built files on across the political platform spectrum, and now there is nobody left. They have bought the opposition wholesale because the opposition is vulnerable always. They are available for a price, and that is what the BJP has done. Today's BJP is not the real BJP. It is a BJP which has survived with the help of the Congress. Therefore, these issues are not raised anymore. Nothing has changed, and nothing is likely to change in the immediate future with these people at the helm of affairs. Law and order is getting worse now with the present government. Worse, their own MLAs. You see, night parties in Morji. The media comes out with that. 300 people, 300 foreigners and Indians gather. How does it happen? And a common man on the streets is challenged by the cops that they have not maintained such social distance, that they have not been wearing masks. So, what kind of law and order are we talking about? Which discriminates between the citizens of the state and the tourists that come, the foreigners that come. Where is the law and order existing in the coastal belt, even in the time of pandemic when there is lockdown, when there are restrictions, when there are night timings imposed? So, what are we talking about?
Now see, this law and order situation, you brought up the coastal belt, good point. Now according to us, now restaurants are open, bars are closed. But according to us, Anjuna, in Kalangut, everything is like normal. They may not be guests, but the restaurants are open, and many of them, I don't know, people are saying that everything is available. We have not gone and checked because that's not really our job, but the government should check what is going on. So where basically my point earlier was that BJP came up with, as a party of that it is for law and order, that it will be push for law and order. Now that is that happening? Is this actually what is happening? Is on the ground according to you?
Nothing, absolutely nothing is happening. Law and order has completely crumbled. So much so that they could function even without a DG police for the past couple of months. Now somebody has joined. But that will not make any difference because there is too much of politicization, sorry. Take the example of yesterday what happened in Guleli in Satari Taluka. Simply 4 people come together, they maintain social distance and try to convey a point of view, and police go and arrest them. Look at this scenario. When we are talking about law and order, here is a case when somebody tries to convey something are arrested, and where actually all the illegal things are happening, a blind eye is turned towards that. The bottom line is, it is all the same, whether under the Congress or under the BJP. BJP came stating that it is a party with a difference, but we do not see any difference between both these parties.
We have run out of time, and we are moving into a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Elvis, sorry to interrupt you abruptly, but we had run out of time. So I would like you to continue on this, that both the parties are the same as far as law and order is concerned. So please go ahead.
See, certain compromises cannot be made. When you are in governance, when you head a government, there cannot be compromises on certain things. And one is law and order. You cannot, look at one scenario in a different angle and another in a different angle. You have to have equality. As I just gave an example what I mean. So when you come hard on antisocial activities, you may feel a political pinch to some extent, but overall in the larger interest of the state that becomes necessary. So you must have that, that will You must have those guts to go hard on that. And only then things can fall in place. It is not at all difficult, my friend. It is simple, but you must have that will. Again, I'm saying you must have that will. There cannot be compromises. You don't have to please all in this scenario. The moment you try to please all, you are going to land in problems. What we are seeing is local interests, local party interests, वो म्हजो मनीस, वो तुझो मनीस. That is what is affecting the dispensation of justice, the law and order situation in the state.
That is very sad, and that is not what law and order means ultimately. Law and order means everybody is equal before the law. That's why the blind statue with the tagdi. But this is not. But I get your point. I get your point absolutely. And do you think that the bureaucracy and the police and also are involved because they go to the politicians asking for favors, this posting, that posting, or is just basically the political will that could sort out this issue? What do you think is the solution to this?
See, there are different reasons. One is, the more if you try to work honestly, you could face punishment because it could be to the disliking of the political boss. The moment that happens, you are sidelined. Sometimes when a person is seen as punished, it has a deterrence on the other officers who would also want to do something good. आमी कित्याक करपाचें, केलें जाल्यार त्रासान पडपाचें, करना जाल्यार चड बरें. This kind of attitude develops. Now, I'll give you a simple example. Take the case of teachers. There is a pandemic. The central government has been sending SOPs. It has been a rain of SOPs right from the lockdown time. In the beginning, we have seen this state government following the SOPs sent by the center. Now there is an SOP which has come very recently that teachers should not be sent to school. They should be allowed to work from home. But here in Goa, we find a case where teachers are forced to come and be greeted by the walls, not the students. Students would say, "Good morning, teacher." Now the walls are not saying anything. Why? In this kind of a situation, you can clearly make out that this government is not serious in what is required to be done. It has to have a balanced approach. You can amend the SOPs to some extent to suit your local needs, but not in this manner. You try to victimize people. You try to victimize officers. Who is going to work in this kind of a situation? And then you have a situation, some officers, a few of them, would go to them for particular postings and they get them and they do what they want. And that is how these things go on. It's a cycle. It continues. It has to be broken.
Okay. Yeah, Alvis, thanks on that. That's a very relevant and valid point. Now, next I would like to go on to another topic which for a long time the Congress was being accused of, and now the BJP, and it started with various allies and now its own BJP people, that's a land conversions. Land conversions, then the Serula Comunidad, lots of these issues have come up. Now the media has been highlighting it, there has been a pressure on the media, plus you all have been highlighting these conversions also. But tell me, what is the logic of all these conversions? What is the actual story? Why these are being done besides money? And what is the whole, could you give us, shed some light on this? Because I know you have done a study on this.
Yeah, you said besides money, what else it could be besides money? I would say there is nothing to it besides money. The greed. And that greed, see, if you see, it is between in the Congress and the BJP, the elements are the same. It is only the migration that has taken place from one party to the other.
I like your word, migration.
Yeah, migration. I'll tell you. When 10 people migrated from the Congress into the BJP, why this particular portfolio of the town country planning, the revenue department, why are these portfolios given to defectors who come into your party? Why people who have been with you originally are not allowed to handle these portfolios? The reason is very clear. Conversions has not started right now. It has been going on for a long time. Only the actors have changed. The act is the same. The actors have changed. Act is the same. People have introduced amendments into the Town and Country Planning Act, into the Land Revenue Code to suit their interests. what is happening is gross abuse and misuse of the system, where the common man's voice is not heard. Large tracts of land are converted. Vast tracts of agricultural fields are overnight converted. The very character and essence of what the state of Goa, for which it is known, गोय माडाचे भांगाराचे शेतांनी भरलेले माडांनी भरलेले, this is all coming to an end. You see plateaus were not touched upon. Liberation and beyond that, for about 20-30 years, the plateaus were not touched upon because these are natural. The topography of the plateau is such that these soak water and they provide water to the rest of the village communities. But today what is happening? Go to Sankwal and see the kind of conversion that has taken place. The whole plateau is finished. Go to Kadamba plateau and see how it is completely finished. Go to the northern belt and see how it is completely finished. It is all happening just because their greed is surpassing the previous man's greed. The one who is in chair wants to compete with the previous one. आणि इतले केले जाल्यार हांव कितले करतलो. So this is what is hurting. Irreversible damage is being done to the state and the topography of the state. So much so, now they have even reached the forest. Agriculture काबार करून आता फॉरेस्टांनी पावले. This is what is very dangerous, and people must realize what is happening now, and before it is too late.
See, Elvis, now specifics. Now, for example, a lot of these properties are for locals. Also, properties are being converted for business. Goenkarang, okay, but it is gone for everywhere. So and there is no the opposition from either the people. The opposition is few. You can count on the fingers, and then how you get targeted. Why is it that are Goans not concerned about all these conversions and all going on? You feel?
See what has happened. Goa had a Gaonkari system. Everybody is aware of this, which later became the Komunidad system. This was a very strong institution. But post-liberation, this institution got weakened. Successive governments weakened the whole structure of the Comunidades. And that is where the problem has first begun, when large tracts of land were snatched away, first by the government, and then underhand dealings, vast tracts have gone into private hands also. Had the Comunidad been strengthened, then all these problems that we see today would not have happened. So even now, better late than never, let us, instead of weakening the Comunidad system, let us strengthen the Comunidad system. It is a common ownership of land. Barring the private ownership, whatever has happened, it is not within our control anymore. But of course, you can bring in legislation even to prevent such kind of mass conversions. But strengthening the Comunidad system will do a lot good for Goa.
Agreed. Well, strengthening of Comunidad system. But many of these lands that are being converted are also private lands, no? It's not only Comunidad. There are fields, there are various.
Therefore, see what happens
that
is,
will stop,
if you give me an opportunity,
once the Comunidad is this.
If you give me an opportunity, I can make a very bold statement today. It is time to dismantle departments like the town and country planning and the PDAs. These are completely at crossroads with what the village development plans are. One side, the constitutional bodies like the panchayats are empowered, are empowered under the 73rd Amendment to do their own plans. Whereas these regional plans and these ODPs are completely at conflict with these plans. And the day we realize that the village level panchayat plans must prevail, these problems will be solved. What is the use of these Gram Panchayat development plans? These are constitutional bodies. They should carry more weight. Whereas the creatures of a government like the TCP is doing whatever pleases them. Depending on whose interest is involved, how much, the load of the bag that is kept, it depends on that. So the day we realize that we have to give importance to the voice of the people at the grassroots, that is the constitutional creatures, the panchayats, and the voices that are heard in the Gram Sabha, many things will fall in place.
Yeah, why should you dominate? Now you're saying you have to better to scrap TCPs and PDAs, but then ultimately you need a supervisory body, no?
You can amalgamate all these plans of the respective village panchayats, which are voices of the people, the reflection of the voices of the people. When a development plan is made by the panchayat, you have to give it sanctity. You cannot be at cross purpose with what the village thinks. If the Naushi village thinks that marina is not required, no matter how good the project might be in your perspective, it is the voice of the people. Let them decide what they want.
Yeah,
There are several ways of doing it.
correct.
And what the TCP does, sitting somewhere in one boardroom, they just draw a map and try to impose somebody else's will on the people there. And then use all the force and machinery at their disposal to crush the voice of the people. So Aam Aadmi Party says that we have to hear the people and do what precisely the people want. You can guide the people how to go about, but the voice of the people should be treated as supreme.
Now, all these issues are important, no doubt, but ultimately they have to be discussed somewhere. Otherwise, just protests and all that will not work. So, that is the assembly. The monsoon session is supposed to be the biggest, the most important, one of the most important in this. But it's a 1 day session. So you guys have come out against this, but now could you give us some logic is how this 1 day session is going to help us, or if it's enough, it's not enough? I don't know, Elvis, please.
It's not enough, and for a moment I will not blame the government but the opposition. What is the assembly? The assembly is basically the space given to the opposition to raise up all these issues. Now it was simply like unbelievable even to us first to realize that they have agreed with the government to hold just 1 day session, and in the name of COVID pandemic. Now tell me, every other day you see these people going for some functions, opening of bridges, defying all the lockdown rules. That is okay. But when it comes to assembly, they want to run away from the assembly. Teachers can be pushed into the schools, go and assemble, and that is okay. But when it comes to assembly, want to run away. They want to run away from these issues. They don't want to. The problem is what? The problem is the same recycled set of people are coming in again and again. Like how we reuse plastic. We put plastic, first use plastic into the recycling system and bring it. The second time when it comes out, it's not a good product. We have seen this is not a good product. So long as people stop recycling of these people, these things will not change. So therefore, the message is loud and clear. You have to root these people out of the system so that these people face the people's issues, discuss them, and come with solutions. They don't want to give you solutions. It is okay. The system goes on. That is what is creating the problem.
This is budget. This is budget. Now, budget, to just to present the budget, it takes half a day. I mean, at least it would normally take. Then there is a discussion on the budget. And then there are, forget about all the issues, the questions and all that, whatever is happening, all that is fine. But the budget itself, so how is that going to be done in half a day?
That is because they have bought the opposition over. You have seen right from 2017, the whole dynamics, how the political dynamics started changing. And it is changing because people are basically vulnerable. They have become commodities. And so long as these commodities are there in the system, things are not going to change. The day this thing changes and people really get in those people who will fight for people, these things are likely to change. Otherwise not. Now I am telling you, this 1 day is just a mock session that they are coming to do a constitutional formality, because assembly has to come into session every 6 months, and that is what they are doing. This whole year, they have not met even once or twice, 2 days, I believe. So how do you expect people's issues to be agitated, and where? And then every time you find people on the roads, then some people getting arrested. Like the other day, the double tracking issue has come. There were 2 MLAs present there. And when I only raised one issue, when so many people have gathered and you are amongst the people, is there not a pandemic threat to you now that you are running away from the assembly because there is a pandemic threat? So, there is no logic in what is happening. And we appeal still that these MLAs must come and open the assembly and see that full-fledged assembly session is held. You take whatever safeguards.
I was told that you all are planning on doing some sort of a token protest, or want the people to come out. What are you going to push this point of the assembly?
We are the people who have raised the consciousness of everyone relating to this issue. Some of our people from North Goa have gone and even gone to the assembly and said that, the people's attention has been brought into the focus as far as this issue is concerned. Let us see, our people, our leaders are thinking about what to do next.
Thanks a lot, Elvis. It was quite interesting points that you have brought up. And thank you very much. And keep watching Goa 365.